Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is October 27th, and today is an Oops All Business episode of the Level 1 News. There are no other categories.
So much business and so little government news this week.
There wasn't a lot.
Everybody's on vacation.
Yeah, they're done.
For the year, yeah.
If you do something as a government employee right now, you might have to answer some questions about inflation. Nobody wants to do that.
Right before Christmas, it's a bummer.
Oh, no good answers. Supply chain, that's a problem. And one company that is suffering from it, but not as much as you would expect, they seem to have figured out how to do it on their own, which is what this is about. They're literally just doing it on their own.
Amazon is now a bigger shipper in the U.S. than FedEx.
Look at that line.
If you had this on your apocalypse bingo card, well, there you go.
I was surprised. I haven't flown for a couple of years now, but when I went on my honeymoon, when we went to the airport, I hadn't flown for a few years since then, but there were so many Amazon planes all over the place.
Well, the vast majority of air traffic is just moving goods around, not people.
Yeah. It was mostly Amazon planes at the airport.
There's only airplanes now because all the ships are broken.
I don't think it's the ports that's broken.
Yeah, stuck in ports, yeah.
But did you see that Saki, she says it's not anything wrong. What happened is we just bought too much stuff because we're so rich and prosperous here in the U.S. Like, she literally said that.
That's like a Soviet Russia answer.
Just too much. We're just so good at buying stuff. We got too much stuff.
We should start making stuff so that way we don't have to ship it as far. But
she didn't bring up anything about that. And one of those things that might be on a boat waiting for you that you want is the new MacBook. But they made a weird choice with the MacBook, possibly because they want to pay lip service to this whole universal ports, but really they want you to use their port.
The new MacBook Pro seems to have an HDMI 2.0 port, not 2.1. So if you wanted to rock 4K 120, forget it. Now, this article says you can get a USB-C or Thunderbolt adapter. That is incorrect. There's not a single one on the market that works correctly for all of the features of 4K 120 for DisplayPort or Thunderbolt to HDMI 2.0, short of a Thunderbolt dock that has a separate GPU in it that has an HDMI 2.1 capable graphics card.
Oh, which they'd love to sell you.
Yeah.
Ars Technica said most people, it's super rare to have 4K 120. That's not that rare in modern TVs.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
It might not work perfectly in your TV because your TV is a cheap piece of crap, but it's there.
And Apple has also announced a refresh to another item that I'll never buy.
Apple's third generation AirPods arrive next week with a new design and spatial audio. We've figured it out, boys.
What's so different about that design?
it doesn't look that different. Of course, I mean, they're very tiny. I personally don't like any kind of earbud. I don't like something going in my ear. It freaks me out. And certainly not spending that much money on something that makes me that uncomfortable.
So I got a noise dampening Bluetooth headset for the jackhammering. Now that I've experienced that, I'm like, I got to get a real pair of wireless headsets. It's so convenient. I do love the convenience. Engagement challenge. What is a really, like, for musical quality that's not $500, a decent wireless headset?
You're going to get one that's $1,000.
Yeah, someone's going to be like, you can't get it for
Less
under
than
$500.
But that was not the big announcement from the Apple event. Of course, the big announcement was the improvement on their all-star chip that surprised everybody. Could they make it better?
Introducing the M1 Pro and the M1 Max, the most powerful chips Apple has ever built. These are not desktop computer chips. They are laptop computer chips. 10-core CPUs, in either case, 32 cores of GPUs. You're going to have 2 monitors with the Pro or 4 monitors with the Max.
Boom.
Yeah.
Do we trust these numbers? I don't know, but those charts are impressive.
They were reasonably honest with the last time the M1 came around, so these are expected to be beastly. The memory bandwidth alone is surprisingly high, and you would think that having the memory built in would improve latency and stuff, but it doesn't. It doesn't, not really. So
we will see. I'm sure people will enjoy benchmarking that. It does seem like they still continue to get better at making their own chips.
Up to 64 gigabytes of memory in a laptop. I remember when Microsoft was telling us that we really don't want Surfaces with 16 gigabytes of memory. because it takes too long to suspend and resume.
Are they going to put those in the iPad eventually? The Max?
Probably. I mean, it's the M1, not Max, in iPads right now.
Yeah, so the form factor is about the same, right?
Yeah.
Well, Apple was not the only one that decided to release new stuff this week. Google as well.
Google revamps its smartphone line with the Pixel 6. Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro start at $599 and $899 respectively. It's a little bit better in pricing than, like, say, the new Surface Duo 2, which was $1,500.
Ooh.
Got a new set of cameras going on in the back there.
Weird little bump, yeah.
Yeah.
My phone has that. It's annoying. There's the thing. I don't even know what we're looking at there.
I had some friends who were like, not really, like, oh, excited isn't the right word, but like, they're like, maybe I'll upgrade to this, which is maybe excitement's not right, but.
Look at this. Image has been modified. They took a stock photo and they made it sexier somehow. Do you think they added like the
glow?
The
soft
sheen,
glow?
yeah.
And somebody at TechCrunch got too much time on their hands. So there's a phone. It's got some image editing stuff if you're into that kind of thing.
It seems like a lot of them are they're putting all their points into camera
Yeah, well, that's
in phones.
Well, that's if you're a normie phone user, probably the only feature that separates the phones, right?
Yeah, it's probably
Because you're
camera.
not taxing the performance, and the service is from the phone company. It doesn't have anything to do with the phone, so I can see that. And Google is making a move in terms of the online store battle, and they've decided to cut the prices.
Google lowers Play Store fees 15% on subscription apps and as low as 10% for media apps. So if you had an app where you subscribed to streaming media, let's say, and it was $5 a month, you now only have to pay Google 10% of that subscription revenue instead of $30.
Some people pushed back against that, and they were like, well, Google, you are kind of making money just being the store monopoly here. I mean, this does help you overall. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We can't cut to zero, because if we cut to zero, it would affect the security of the App Store.
The old Apple argument. Brilliant.
And Google, sometimes they fail, and sometimes they fail spectacularly. To give them credit, when you try that many things, it's bound to happen. But they're not willing to give up on this turd just yet.
Google's Stadia salvaged future as a back-end cloud service is here. After its consumer flock, Google wants to license Stadia tech to companies.
All right. Now, if you have a weak stomach or you've just eaten, here's a warning that this might make you nauseous.
AT&T is exclusively going to have Batman Arkham Knight that you can experience, if you're an AT&T wireless customer.
But not on your AT&T wireless device. It requires a PC. And you probably won't be able to use your AT&T mobile plan on the PC to stream the Stadia game.
Sounds like Google's just grifting wireless carriers because they're too stupid to know what's going on.
And AT&T's just taking advantage of dumb people because they want. And when did that game come out?
I mean, look, AT&T bought a satellite TV company. Like, they literally are one of the few companies in the world with that much physical infrastructure, and they bought a satellite TV company.
And but if you said AT&T bought a satellite TV company, I'd be like, yes, in 1995, brilliant move. And that's not when they did it. Google also has expanded their phone assistant type technology, and it seems to be consumer friendly, but I'm sure there's something horrible hidden inside of it.
Google makes calling businesses less painful with features like seeing wait times and phone tree operations and more. If you've ever looked up a restaurant that you've been to 1,000 times and you know how to get to on Google, it's pretty cool because it shows you how busy the restaurant is. It knows because it's counting the phones inside the walls at the restaurant. Not creepy at all, right? Well, now Google is analyzing the phone calls that you make to know how long that you're on hold and what the menu is and that sort of thing to help you not waste as much time. Is it helpful or creepy? A little bit of both? I think it might be a little bit of both.
But it's not just watching you, it's watching the business's phone activity.
Yeah.
Which means that it's looking at everybody's phone activity, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it will actually give you a chart of when that business is the least busy on the telephone so that you might rethink. They'll also do like a callback type of deal, a variety of little things that's supposed to make your life easier. We don't expect the corporations to treat us like humans. We just try to build better technology to fight them with other robots.
It's a war of the robots.
And if you are a game streamer, you might be saying to yourself, well, I can't get a video card, right? Those are impossible to get. Might as well sign up for a streaming service that lets me use somebody else's video card. But even then, it's going to cost you a premium to get the most in-demand video cards.
GeForce Now on Nvidia. You can get an RTX 3080 plan that upgrades you to 1440p and 120 FPS at $100 for 6 months. That's cloud game streaming. Oh, they're promising fewer screen artifacts. That's a bold promise. I don't know if they can make that promise on an AT&T wired network.
Like almost 20 a month. That's kind of steep for that.
Yeah.
That's on top of your existing subscription plan, right? Or is that the whole subscription?
That's probably the whole subscription.
I think they give you a free account, but it's limited by time. And they think that, oh, here we go. Free is, oh, they don't give the limitations there. I think it's 1 hour a day you can play games for free. You know that's going to lure people in. That's a brilliant business model. So if you want to play the hot new games, you got no hardware, you can try that. Epic has seen an opportunity. Earlier in the week, I didn't include that story, but earlier in the week, Valve came out and they said, you know what? We're not going to mess around with blockchain or NFT or any of that crap on Steam. We can see how bad that's going to go eventually, and we can see the lawsuits rolling out. We don't want to be a part of it. And Tim Sweeney said, we will.
Epic said that it's open, quote unquote, to blockchain games after Steam bans them. So maybe there's an interactive CryptoKitties client. Maybe there's something like that. But it can't happen on Steam. Tim Sweeney says, we can make money.
So people hating on Valve. I
didn't look into the Space Pirate thing either. Did you look into the Space Pirate game?
Oh, the first blockchain game? No, I don't know anything about it. Well, don't we already have a game called Space Pirates and Zombies or something like that? Is that
Engagement Challenge? What are we missing?
But, I mean, based on what we've seen with cheating in major video games, that's got to go bad, right?
One would think.
Plus, some kid steals his parents' credit card and runs up all kinds of NFTs.
Yeah, I think Steam probably made the right call here.
Yeah. Although there will be a ton of money to be made there. It'll be sloppy, but if you're willing to deal with the controversy. And Epic seems to be able to spin that into more. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't seem to care about controversy.
Well, you know who does care about controversy? Or maybe they don't, because if you cared about controversy, why would you ever do this to begin with? This is a despicable thing, and thank God it's finally getting called out, because this is not a new thing. This is not like a new unit that they've just released. This has been going on for a very, very long time.
Canon has been sued for $5 million for disabling scanning when printers run out of ink. You got a combination printer, scanner, copy, or fax machine. Is it out of yellow ink? Well, you're not going to be able to scan a document. What sense does that make?
Or send a fax. It will not send a fax when it's out of ink. And what is their excuse? Well, it's the old Tim Cook excuse. Once again, if we allowed that to happen, the inkjet nozzle might try to spray from an empty ink cartridge, which could damage the unit. It wouldn't do that during a scan. Or fax.
Also, it seems like 5 million is criminally low.
Yeah.
For how long this has been going on.
Yeah, the lawyers are sitting at this looking. It's like, well, heck, we've made more than $5 million just this week on people having to buy ink they don't need.
Well, maybe that's the guy's plan, right? He picked a number that he thought he could get.
That's a class action, though, I think so.
No, I think it's just the one guy right now. If it becomes a class action, I'm sure that number will
go up
rapidly.
And wait for the update, John.
And that lawyer that he hired is just salivating. It's like, oh, please give me a class action. But if it goes into a class action, that guy will probably end up getting a lot less.
Is the $5 million then like the lifetime amount of ink? Like Canon will supply me with a lifetime of ink, so that this thing will scan from now until the end of time. That'd be pretty funny because ink is so valuable.
How many double-sided black sheets would you have to print to spend $5 million in ink? Actually, probably wouldn't even be that much, would it?
Yeah, probably
not. It was running
not.
24 hours a day.
Filling up your car is something like $330,000.
I'm sure that something on the unit would melt before you spent that amount on the ink. Well, the SEC has done some investigating. If you'll think back to the big GameStop meme stonk. I said it. I didn't even mean to say it. Happening where everybody got in on the GameStop and it blew up and everybody was like, oh my God, what happened? Well, the SEC has turned over all the rocks. They've discovered all the horrible things and they've given us their result.
The SEC says that GameStop stock surge due to individual investors and not any kind of nefarious, shady, Citadel things that have been going on. And they don't recommend any policy change, but they did request. They don't require, but they did request more documentation so there's more transparency into what the heck is going on with those short trades. This smells a little weird to me.
The phrase short selling does not appear in the document.
No.
Anywhere. They didn't say anything about the shorts. Melvin Capital, was it Melvin or Marvin?
I think it was Melvin.
Melvin went out of business. They gave all their money back because of this, but somehow the SEC was like, it's unrelated.
We didn't deem that relevant for the report.
It is. The mind does boggle just a bit, yes.
But at the same time, I do agree with them. Like, what happened there was just people getting their comeuppance for being stupid and naked shorting that stock. That's a stupid thing. You went out of business for it. Yeah. That was a transfer of wealth in a direction that never happens in transfers of wealth. That's the amazing thing about it. Crypto is kind of the same way too. Well, if you're going to buy a new TV this holiday season, a lot of people are going to be doing that, right? You got to choose which kind of software you want running on your TV. Yeah, that's the hell that we're living in. Do you want a Fire TV? Do you want which cable company was it? Was it
Comcast?
Did Comcast?
Yeah, the Comcast TV. Oh God.
Ugh.
Or maybe you want a Roku. Well, if you want a Roku, it's going to be missing something very important.
Roku tells customers that it is unable to strike a deal with YouTube. And this article has some more details. They actually say we're not trying to negotiate monetarily. The monetary terms of our deal are completely unchanged. We just don't want to have Google prioritize their content ahead of other content. And if that's true, Congress will probably intervene because some Congress critters have already made noise that Roku has come to them with a complaint.
And Google, according to Roku, requires not only that they prioritize their content, Google wants a whole different sidebar for YouTube to recommend YouTube even when you're watching other stuff. Kind of like Google does at the top of their search pages. Kind of like Amazon does at the top of their searches. It's a tried and true method.
A little disturbing.
It's awful. Yeah.
I was planning on getting my mom a Roku for Christmas, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, because she might use it for YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube is such a valuable thing to have on your media TV,
Yeah.
Once I taught my parents how to use it with the Alexa talk to it thing, they'd use it all the time now. And that before then, YouTube was completely beyond them technologically.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get my mom an Alexa.
Wow. People are going to be like, who are you people? But it is time to buy a TV. That big holiday trend, maybe Black Friday, maybe you can trample some children.
Now it's not really a good time.
Yeah, well, it's never a good time to do it on Black Friday. That's just the worst kind of people. But for other reasons, you might want to wait.
TV prices are the highest that they've been in at least 9 years. The cost of parts and shipping are up in 2021, which could lead to a few more doorbusters than normal this Black Friday. Yeah, shipping is 3 times as much, literally triple the cost.
Now, according to CNET, this is actually going to affect lower price TVs more. So if you want to buy a TV this holiday season, you should probably buy something in like the mid-range $1,500 area.
Whew.
Because those are not as affected by the price increase. If you want value for money, you want to go that way at least. So get ready for that. Well, you think that will make the Black Friday people more bloodthirsty this year?
Yes. This year it's going to be like the Hunger Games.
There's going to be like pent up
yes.
pandemic rage.
Yes.
Plus like everything's short and I can't get the gift I wanted to get for my kids.
Stabbing for every Walmart.
I'm going to be raging out.
You know how Best Buy had that $200 a year special plan? They should make one of the perks of that $200 a year plan is that if you show up on Black Friday and you show them proof that you're part of that plan, they just like really covertly, they give you a box cutter. Just slip it in your pocket.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that, which is actually a thing that they could do and would be good is like if you're in that membership, maybe, you know how like Best Buy closes at like 10 p.m. or whatever? Maybe from like 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. they bring out the wines and cheeses, and it's an invite-only event at Best Buy, which sounds completely insane, but they would probably make just an obscene amount of money having that.
Or they give you a nail to tape to your shoe so you can kick people better.
Because that's not going to stay in place with just tape. But what's going to happen is all the other people who are not part of the thing are going to be outside waiting for you. And you're going to walk out in the parking lot a little bit buzzed with your 60-inch TV, and they're going to kill you.
You get security detail as well.
The parking lot doesn't actually belong to Best Buy. It belongs to a leasing company. It's the leasing company's problem.
Or what if you have an upsell? So, like, you do the $200 package, but if you do the $300 package, you get an escort back to your car.
The Geek Squad walks you out.
Yeah.
Like at a pro fight, you know, where they're like knocking people's arms down.
Until the meat and cheese platter with wine and low lighting at Best Buy, there's a lot of money in that idea.
Low lighting is just going to cause shoplifting.
Yeah.
Well, but we know who all was in the store. It's only the people on the list.
We were tracking them with their VIP badge.
Yeah.
Well, prices are definitely going up. It seems like the powers that be are trying to downplay it at every opportunity, but this is the kind of thing you can't hide. Everybody notices it, and it's really obvious. Even things that you would expect to always be super cheap, they literally have never, ever raised the prices. They've lowered prices since the beginning, but not now.
Raspberry Pi suffers its first ever price increase. So they had lowered the 2 gigabyte model was going to be the $35 model, but it's gone back up.
That's the Plus, right?
Yeah, so it's back up to $45.
The 4, the Pi 4.
Well, they still have the one that's $35, but they weren't going to have the 1 gig anymore. It's just a supply issue.
And he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this. We just have to do it. As soon as possible, we'll take it back down. But for now, inflation.
Yeah.
And get used to hearing that.
Yeah.
Most companies are not going to be as nice as Raspberry Pi is about it. Believe that. Well, PayPal is apparently not worried about inflation because they're looking to make a giant purchase.
PayPal is exploring the purchase of Pintrest, according to all the headlines and buzzes and everything else, which is sort of a little insane.
But why is the real... I guess they get a lot of good SEO because it's always filling up search recommendations.
Yeah, but it just makes you angry. I think what they're trying to do is they're desperately trying to become one of these like more holistic apps, right? Because Google and Facebook, they're getting you every which way. They got money transfer, they got talk to your friends, they got social media. PayPal doesn't really have anything like that, so I think they're trying to build that up.
Pinterest, I don't know. I guess they just monetize your data like other social media, but like there isn't an easy path forward to like monetizing that, I wouldn't think. Unless it's like buy this pin or something, if they know what the item is. And then you have to like figure out a way to make a deal with the person selling the item. And
you know, PayPal needs to rethink if they want to make a bunch of money, they need to rethink how they move money back and forth. Like if you had like a part of your account you could put like $20 or $50 in to make it easy to just like, you know, zap some money with low cost, low overhead. Like we're only going to charge you 2 or 3 cents to move that between PayPal because it wouldn't cost them a lot of money. It would take over, you know, a lot of things like immediately. Like you send a tip or just, you know, share a little bit of money or something. But it's just too much headache to go through.
Isn't that Venmo?
Yeah, it's basically, buy Venmo, I guess.
But I think what you're ignoring there, Krista, is the key here is to have 2 different forms of surveillance, right? I can watch your money and your social media at the same time, which gives me a super valuable data set because I can make those joins. That's what Facebook and Google can already do. So they got to get good. They got to get dystopian to make money.
who's still on Pinterest? It's probably just mostly like moms and stuff, right? I don't know any young people who are still on Pinterest.
It's the Google, like when I'm looking for stuff for anything, there's always a ton of Pinterest results, and I have to go in Google search and do minus Pinterest.
Right, but like Pinterest was peak popularity when I was in college. That's when young people were using it, and like lots of people from all walks of life were using it. Now I think it's mostly just like suburban moms who still use it.
There's a lot of content on Pinterest that would be good, but
They never link to the actual thing. Is
Yeah.
the problem.
And
Like, it's like, ooh, look at that cool image. You click on it, it just goes nowhere.
The registration wall is
Yeah.
just, it makes it unusable. Like many sites, like these news sites.
I would love to see what this person has built. It looks amazing. Click. Never mind.
It's just an image. There's no link to the actual article. Fantastic.
Well, part of our woes going into the end of the year are going to be shipping related.
Which
There
are only getting worse.
are a lot of ships waiting at the ports. They can't
many.
seem to unload anything. What is the problem there? Well, we're not sure, but instead of trying to fix the ships that we've got, we've decided, no, let's get rid of all those ships. Let's just take them all apart and build new ones.
Giant retailers pledge to leave fossil-fueled ships behind. Amazon and IKEA are among the biggest maritime polluters.
But the timeline is a little distance.
Yeah.
2050.
Yeah.
That's
I want
a lot of
nuclear-powered shipping machines. I've seen the prototypes. Tiny nuclear reactors.
Yeah, because it's an upcoming story.
2050, I'll be 60 years old, for reference.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
We'll still be doing the level 1 news. Ah.
We got 10 years on her. You really think we're going to survive that long?
Probably not.
You guys might be retired by then.
Well,
This is my retirement. What are you talking about?
you got to give it up for Las Vegas because they were just dealt basically a terrible, like they had like 3-2 offsuit in blackjack, and they're like, deal them again. I think we're going to do better next time, even though it's the same horrible business model.
Elon Musk's Boring Company gets the green light for a Las Vegas tunnel system. It's going to go right under the strip. It's going to connect the airport to the University of Las Vegas and a couple other things.
What's hilarious here is that Teslas in tunnels was a pejorative that was created when the Boring Company didn't do what they said they were going to do, and they created Teslas in tunnels. Now it's in their marketing campaign.
Is this still really just like driving the cars?
Yep. Literally just the same thing.
Right.
The software is just, I will do this for you, and that theoretically makes it safe, but
Because that self-driving software is so good. Although in a tunnel, how bad can it get?
I feel like Las Vegas, those cars are going to be trashed quickly.
Yeah. It'll be a nasty interior on those cars.
Well, it's like if you ever take an Uber late at night, I've had an Uber show up like, and the guy's like, oh, sorry, the last people I had, someone vomited in here.
Right.
And like he's cleaned it, but like, you know, you could still kind of tell there was vomit. And like no one's going to be monitoring those Teslas for vomit.
Oh, well, but the Tesla itself will be recording everything.
Do you think they'll have like, this person looks like they're heaving, someone go check it to make sure that they didn't vomit in the passenger seat?
I guarantee you they'll detect sex. And that'll happen a lot.
I don't understand why they don't just, stick a couple of wheels on, just like, don't even put the car together completely. Just have the battery and the wheels and literally nothing else, and just, have it go fast through the tunnel and then slow down. Like, just tell people to get off while it's moving.
Because then you can't upsell your real business.
Also, drunks and moving vehicles, even if they're just moving very slowly.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the paddle wheel boats where it's made out of that plastic that's impervious to any human fluid.
I'll go further than that. I bet that the windows won't roll down on those Teslas.
The doors probably won't even
Right.
open when you're
Because what
in
if you
the
stuck
tunnel.
your
Transit.
arm out?
Yeah.
That's the old roller coaster thing.
Yeah.
Keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle.
I was thinking like in Jurassic Park when they have those Jeeps on the track. They try to get out at one point and they can't. It's locked them in.
Oh yeah, this was
Yeah.
in Jurassic Park, and then they were able to drive the Jeeps away.
Yeah. Fictional dinosaurs are so much more common.
Fictional
experience.
dinosaurs are a lot closer to reality than whatever Elon Musk is imagining.
Listen,
But
This-
not a
Jurassic
roller
Park-
coaster.
Part of the reason Jurassic Park failed was because they didn't pay their IT guys enough. So I think it's very realistic.
Well, cryptocurrency. It's it's making money, isn't it? The
What's
investment
the price of Bitcoin right now? I haven't looked at it.
66,000.
Nah, it's like 63 right now.
Oh, it went down.
Yeah, but still,
That's still high.
yeah, pretty extreme. And Ethereum's like 33,
Yeah.
3,000, something like that. It's crypto is really hitting it big, and everybody wants to cash in on it. The problem is the blockchains immediately get used for bad stuff. How do you create a cryptocurrency where you actually know who is who? What can you do? One man feels he has the solution.
Sam Altman's Worldcoin wants to scan your eyeballs in exchange for crypto. It all starts with a 5-pound chromatic sphere called the orb.
I don't like that name.
Basically, just stare into the thing. You'll see your eyes, and you get some crypto. You get some crypto. It's like Oprah. Everybody gets some crypto.
Stare into the orb. Oh, there's a picture of people staring into it.
Yeah. So these two fellas,
Their eyes have been photoshopped.
Have they?
so you can't steal their crypto.
Oh.
And so they are not doing it in the United States right now because they fear that the United States regulators will crush them. Their idea is that they want to go around the world and get a user base in place before they try to crack the U.S. But obviously, I can't just send you an orb because you have to prove who you are. So these guys go around, they're trusted somehow, and they go around and they scan your eye and confirm you for your wallet for this thing. And you get a little bit of free crypto for that too.
Imagine like you live in a rural village somewhere and someone shows up and they're like, stare into the orb and
Yeah.
I'll give you fake money. And it's like, wait, what?
But look at these women. They don't know what's going on.
All I do is look in here, and you give me $3 American.
That is some like weird magician shit. Like you'd read that in like a book somewhere. A wizard showed up and told me to stare into the orb.
Yeah, and then he gave me a special number.
That's not until nonsense, Krista.
And I sent that number and someone gave me food. It's amazing.
Is it though?
Yeah, Krista, this answers your question. Now, unfortunately, this number is no longer exact, but we are still very, very high.
Bitcoin hits all-time high above 66K on strength of ProShares ETF debut.
But it went back down again, like Ryan was saying.
But not by much.
Not by much.
It's still floating up there pretty high.
Do you think it'll crash by the time that they'll see this?
So other ETFs for commodities generated a big spike, and then they tapered off over time. People lose their excitement for it, it seems. But I don't know. Here's my worry about, because isn't BITO is the ETF. Isn't that cash settled?
Basically.
So when you have futures, it's important that it's settled in the thing, right? Because think about this. If I had an unlimited amount of money, central bank, I could sell the futures for whatever price I wanted. And then at the end of the contract, I could just lose money by settling it in cash. I don't have to deliver cryptocurrency to you. With corn, you can't do that. At the end of that contract, Kellogg's might be on the other side of that contract, and they might call you up and be like, where's my corn? So you could drop the price of the crypto and never have to go to the open market and buy it again if it settles in cash. That's a terrible thing. If someone wants to suppress the price of Bitcoin, who would want that?
The central banks, maybe?
Oh, battery stories. I almost always replace imaginary energy stories and imaginary battery stories. I just get rid of them because how many have we done over the years?
So many.
And how many have we actually seen?
None of them have made it to market.
Not a single one. I thought maybe we'd revisit it just, for like just this one
Old
time.
time's sake.
Just to have a sort of a save point here that we can harken back to and be like, whatever happened to those two power projects?
Study. Recycled lithium batteries are as good as newly mined. Cathodes made with the novel direct recycling beat commercial materials. So this is good. This is a little different. This is saying we can recycle lithium batteries now, which is good.
At full capacity or better. They're saying their rebuilt cathodes are actually better because they're more porous.
Especially older batteries. Because like the technology had improved since those batteries were minted, and so now we can take advantage of modern technologies.
And everybody else is working on other parts of the battery, refurbishing that. These are the only guys doing cathodes, according to them and IEEE. So is this... Now, I have to say, if this is true, this does change my mind about the sustainability of electronic vehicles.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that makes electronic vehicles sustainable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a really stupid thing to do.
There's still not enough lithium for all of us to get the amount of lithium we need for everything in our lives to be like that. But it's a better situation.
And this
It's a
doesn't
step in the right direction.
This doesn't help that, but it helps a lot with the cobalt and what were the other two metals that were in there? Some rare stuff that we need, and they can salvage almost all of it, I think.
Nice.
Let's hope. And you preview this one again. What a beautiful... Oh, man, if I just had one of these in my basement, I'll be so happy. I'd take the risk. Wouldn't you?
I would totally would. Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Radiant aims to replace diesel generators with small nuclear reactors. So there you go. This is going to be used for like some space mission or something. But they envision that, hey, this could actually be used in residential neighborhoods and things like that. It actually uses helium for cooling instead of something more exotic. I thought sure that they would mention, because DARPA in the 80s, I think it was like the late 80s, earlier late 80s, DARPA had a thing where they've got a deployable from a container, like just a standard issue shipping container, nuclear reactor, but it's encased in concrete. And so you can't take it apart, you can't do anything with it. Like when you pull the tab to activate it or whatever, you just are supposed to like bury it. And then it's like a 5 megawatt generator, and it's good enough for 5 megawatts for like 20 years or something. And DARPA has that design. I thought this was based on that, but I don't think it is.
What happens at the end of the 20 years, though? That's a big question.
It stops working and you leave it buried. Like it wasn't ever designed to have its fuel taken out or anything. It's literally you just bury it and forget about it. And hope it doesn't leak.
And then you sell that land.
Yes.
And someone wants to develop it.
And hopefully it hasn't leaked.
And they call before they dig. But there are no lines running there. It's just that thing in the ground.
Yeah, and then they hit something and then it leaks, and then it's really
backhoe digs down into it.
Well, it's nowhere near as bad as Chernobyl.
Well, they say these things can't melt down.
You said it was helium?
Yeah, helium for cooling.
That's the cooling.
Yeah. Isn't there? This was a few years ago. I remember there was a helium shortage
because
you couldn't get balloons. For a while.
But
that's trapped helium, right?
Yeah.
So it's just going to be whatever you put in there the first time.
Yeah.
Till it leaks out.
Yeah. Fun times.
But listen, if we could get that, man, think about the beauty of this, right? Personal reactor and Starlink. You live wherever you want.
I would be a little nervous about the reactor, but
yeah, but the good thing about the reactor is that if it goes, you wouldn't even know.
You can get some radiation detectors and they start beeping in the middle of the night. Just run away.
Run faster than the radiation.
What's the worst thing that can happen? A horrible cancer?
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably die slowly.
It's fine. All right, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Woo!
Bye!